Buddy, thank you for coming watch. I've got a update for you guys on this massive severe weather outbreak that is possible throughout today and then some of tomorrow. But this is really going to be a historic one, and we what I'm about to show you is something that you don't see every year, and you rarely see this once a year. So we're really going to break this down as much as we can, as we are already experiencing those thunderstorms and precipitation that's moving into parts of the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, starting out as all snow for the upstate regions of New York, but this is really going to change to some thunderstorms that could possibly be even severe. We don't have much action in the place that we're really worried about, but these are your first storm cells that are firing up right here. So we're actually at the beginning of this outbreak that we're going to be seeing today, but we have two air masses here. We've got one coming in from the from the northwest, and then another one coming a little bit more from the central, whereas the one from the northwest is a bit weaker because it has a longer way, like a longer way to go in order to get to this pinpointed area. Then obviously, like we've been seeing in the past few months, this moisture in the Gulf Coast has really ramped up, and this is really going to be fueling the system as well. So that just causes so much tension in the atmosphere here that this is just going to cause a complete, totally outbreak of severe weather. So let me clear my screen so we could kind of just show you around. So like I said, we got some snow here in the portions of Canada. And then also parts of southern Arkansas. I think these storms are really going to be the first ones that are going to be the strongest. These are storms here you can see in Kentucky, but it's mainly just a few downpours of rainfall, like we've seen here in the border of Pennsylvania and New York State, and then also what we're seeing here in the border of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia. So we're going to move on now to the latest SPC. Now, this is really bad. This is where things get really tough to take in, basically. We have two high risks. Now, let me kind of just explain what a high risk is. A high risk is a level 5 out of 5 severe weather percentage. So when you see a 5 out of 5, that means that severe weather is definitely going to happen. There is definitely going to be a severe weather outbreak. It's not like it's just possible. It is going to happen, and there's basically no way out of it. I mean, this is crazy because the high risk has almost 3 million people in this, with a moderate risk of a whopping 15.5 million people included in this. And even a moderate risk by itself alone can really be something that's really dangerous, like we saw with the Rolling Fork, Mississippi tornado. That severe weather outbreak had only one small area of a moderate risk. This one has a widespread moderate risk with two high risks. Okay, this is very dangerous. I repeat, this is a dangerous situation. This is life-threatening to anyone inside of this orange, red, or pink. Now, the high risk, this goes out for the border of northeastern Missouri, southeastern Iowa, and portions of, the border of Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri. That whole area, that like 3-state area, you guys gotta be ready. This includes major cities, also including this one down here in the southeast, including the border of Tennessee, Arkansas, and then some of northern Mississippi. I think this could really be the outbreak that we were all waiting for, like we saw, like we've been seeing in this pattern here. This ridge in the southeast is just pounding, and producing all these severe weather outbreaks because it's also pairing with these atmospheric rivers here. What happens is you get a low pressure system that comes through, delivering in a wave of that atmospheric river in the west, and then rides the jet stream, and boom, once it meets up with this very warm air, this erupts with thunderstorms, and we're really going to see a very dangerous pattern in the next few weeks and months. And this could be something that isn't going to be too rare. But as of now, I just want to tell you guys, this is not normal. This is very rare, and this is why, I'm really making sure I can do this update, because this could, I could really, you could really look back at this, is what I'm saying. You could, because you don't see these high risks, every year. This is the first one in over, the first one in over 2 years. So this one is really going to be something to look back at, and I think somewhere in here, there's going to be a long track, damaging tornado, and it's going to be really bad. So the high risk, including Memphis, Tennessee, Davenport, Iowa, Iowa City, Iowa, Bartlett, Tennessee, and Moline, Illinois. So any of you in that area, not even just in that city or in those cities, but in those areas or towns surrounding, I repeat, you got to be ready. Today is going to be an outbreak, especially for those in the high risk. I don't know where any of you live. Like, if you're in the slight risk, enhanced, moderate, feel free to write in the comments. What city you live in, what area you live in, and basically what level of severe weather you're included in. But I'm just going to tell you guys, the people in the moderate risk and enhanced risk, the people in the moderate risk and the high risk, you guys have to be ready. You can't get away from this. This is just too big of a deal, and it's too big of a storm. It stretches all the way from New Orleans up to Canada. I know New Orleans isn't quite in this, but you can see here, Houston is on the coastal regions of the Gulf Coast, and then this stretches all the way into Canada. So this is a huge, major, terrible thing that's going to happen today, including a moderate risk of, once again, 15.5 million people, including Indianapolis, St. Louis, Missouri, Des Moines, Iowa, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Aurora, Illinois. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. But, if you know how to pronounce that, please write in the comments. But, anyways, this is really going to be a terrible thing, and I just want to make sure that each and every one of you are exactly sure on how you're going to approach it, how you're going to do today. If I'm just going to tell you, if any of you are in this moderate risk or high risk, please take off work today, because, there's no point in going to, your office or wherever your working place is when severe weather can be life-threatening. I don't see a point in that, and this is going to be during rush hour, so I really advise you guys not to travel, especially in the state of Missouri, Illinois, southeastern Iowa, Arkansas, Tennessee, and northern Mississippi. I think that this could really be terrible, because this is going to impact at its worst, when everyone is trying to get home before the rain starts. How everyone says, oh, we got to get dry so, no rain comes down. No, this is something that's more than that. It's more than just rainfall. This is talking about tornadoes that could change people's lives. So that's just going to bring us to the tornado risk. And when I say tornado outbreak, I hope you know what I mean, because this is explaining exactly why. Earlier, we had a 15% risk. When we have a 15% risk up, tornado outbreak is likely, but it's not completely expected. But today it is, because 30% it may seem a little low, but you rarely see a tornado risk get up to 30%. That means everyone in this area has at least a 30% risk of, having tornadoes of at least EF2 to EF5 strength. So that 15% risk is massive. This is just over 9 million people of St. Louis, Missouri, Des Moines, Iowa, Little Rock, Arkansas, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I just want to mention, you guys in Cedar Rapids, if you don't remember this, I think you gotta remember this, but I believe in 2020, the historic Cedar Rapids, Iowa Jericho hit, and that was something that I remember, not forecasting, but just, hearing about. And I was just amazed at how big that system was. I mean, that was almost as big as this one, but I really think that this one could even be a Jericho. I'm not sure why not many people are kind of discussing that this could be a Jericho. But I mean, it has everything. It's got that damaging wind threat. It's got tornado threat up. We've already got a high risk, and there's gonna be snow on the backside too. So I'll tell you, maybe even some of the areas that are in the highest risk for severe weather today could get even some snow on the backside of this. I mean, that's how insane this system is. This is not even severe. This is not even all severe weather. We've got a blizzard potential for southern Minnesota and central Wisconsin. I mean, this is really just not a good situation. So that 30% risk for tornadoes, Memphis, Tennessee, Davenport, Iowa, Iowa City, Iowa, Bartlett, Tennessee, and Mullen, Illinois. So, because we never see this, I'm just going to tell you, I'm forcing you to make sure that you are ready today. I mean, this morning you should have been ready already because, when you see a moderate risk come out, like a few hours or maybe even a day before the actual storm hits, I mean, you've always got to be prepared in case a high risk does come out. And this did come out probably about 35 minutes after I started filming this video. For you guys watching this video, it's probably a few hours ago, but I mean, when you see a high risk, you just have to be ready by the time that high risk is in place. It's because those storms are going to come in fast, and they're going to be very dangerous. So, any of you in these cities that I'm mentioning, I don't care if you're in the city, you can be in the area around it. So, I want you to pause the video for each section that we're looking at and see if you're in the area for the likeliest of severe weather, even if you're not, even if you're in this 10% risk or maybe even the 5% risk for these tornadoes. You still got to make sure you are ready for whatever is yet to come. Wind threat, this is very difficult to take in because the wind threat, it's a little bit more widespread. You can see, obviously, the 45% risk is up. But what I'm saying here is, because that 45% risk is so huge, we might see a 60% risk come up. And that, if we have a 60% risk, we're going to have wind gust well over Category 1 or 2 strength. And that's really not good. Large trees are going to be uprooted. Widespread power outages. I mean, I'm going to tell you, the crews in the power outage, those companies out there, they are really stocking up. Today's going to be a really tough day. And tonight, I'm going to try and squeeze in an update just on how it's going with the severe weather. We're going to see, tons of, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, high wind warnings. I believe, actually, there's already a high wind warning in effect for this area. But, 45% risk for Indianapolis, Aurora, Illinois, Joliet, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Joliet, Illinois, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and Springfield, Illinois. But those are that's a lot of major cities, and it stretches almost for, 5 states. Let's see. So we got, not quite Ohio, but we do have Indiana. We definitely have Illinois. Let me get back to here. We missed that for a second. We definitely have Illinois, Iowa, so that's 3 states so far. Not quite Minnesota, but, this could obviously change. Usually what happens with these is that the shape of the area in like the 30 or 45% risk. That usually changes just a tiny bit. But today we've had so many major changes. So this means the hatched area, which is the dashed area here, all these dash marks here, anyone in this area has a 10% or greater probability of wind gusts 65 knots or higher within 25 miles of a point. So converting knots into miles per hour, which most of you are pretty familiar with, that would be around 70 miles an hour. Okay, that's going to uproot large trees. That's going to uproot many trees in your neighborhood. That's like the equivalent to an EF1 tornado, but for over 9.5 million people. So that's basically what we're looking at today. That is really not good. Hail risk, thank God we don't have a 45% risk for hail, but we are up to a 30% risk for Des Moines, Iowa, Little Rock, Arkansas, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Peoria, Illinois, and Davenport, Iowa. These two areas, there's going to be very large hail. It's going to be over 2-inch diameter. I'm just not sure exactly where. Park your car in your garage if you have one. I'm not saying you need to have one, but you really want to shield everything that's in your property as much as you can, because there's just going to be so many components of severe weather that could really affect you or your property. So we're going to move on now to the outlook of this, and we're going to look at the latest HRRR for the system. And I'm going to tell you, I'm on Long Island, so if you didn't know that already, I'm actually going to get hit by the system too. If you didn't know already, Long Island's going to get hit pretty hard by some winds. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing like a little series of videos of kind of just doing in-storm reports of this major storm. And it's already windy. It's like cloudy. It's been cloudy all day. We've been having some scattered rain showers come in. That's actually the beginning of the system. I mean, we actually have gotten started with this. As you can see, this is actually already into parts of the Northeast. But I mean, this is definitely going to be a 2-day duration system. So just want to throw that out there. But I mean, this is 1 p.m. today, and we're dealing with some snow showers that have been getting to moderate and maybe even heavy snow for South Dakota. That's going to continue in the next few hours and just expand into this swath of wintry mix, wintry weather, as well as this band of thunderstorms that starts forming. Now, what we're going to call this, it's not something that I just call by myself. It's something that we call in weather. It's called discrete supercell thunderstorms. Now, what that means is that they are very strong thunderstorms that are kind of scattered all over the place, and they have their own territory. But they are all rotating, meaning that they are well spread, widespread, severe thunderstorms that are all rotating. Now, one way you could tell that this low pressure system is going to be very strong is because you can see there's a bit of an eye of low pressure, if you want to call it. There's an area where it's dry, and that's going to be really showing you that the thunderstorms are just going to be very strong. And what we don't see usually on the HRRR is so much rain showing up that you get pink, which is indicating either 1 inch per hour rates of rain, or just insanely strong hail, like damaging hail. And this is what you're seeing here, a little line or shade of light pink here, just off the west end of this low pressure system. And that's really going to be concerning with that flood threat. And we have so many of these discrete cells all spread out here in the central and the north central U.S. These are going to make it into parts of Wisconsin, believe it or not. I would not be surprised if that moderate risk actually expanded into Wisconsin if it isn't already, because these are very strong, damaging wind, like associated thunderstorms. But there is that squall line that you start seeing. That's going to form probably around 9 p.m. So like the late evening hours into the early the early night hours of tonight. That's when you're going to start seeing that damaging wind threat ramp up. And this just continues plowing through. Everybody's getting knocked by severe weather, wind, tornadoes, rain, hail. It's just everything you get. And then here's that backside snow I talked about. And there's a blizzard possible with these areas that are going to get hit by that snow. So it's not only a historic severe weather outbreak, but also a blizzard. So imagine both of those combining in one storm. And that's what you have right now. But that's going to start moving out. And then here comes the rest of your snow. I'm going to switch this to the 13Z. Or actually, it might be the 12Z. Yeah, I'm going to switch it to the 12Z so we can get the full duration of the system. And I can just show you the rest of the outlook of the system. Because I want to show you who's getting the snow and who's not. This does eventually actually make it to those areas that are included in the high risk and the moderate risk for severe weather. But it's not going to accumulate. You might see some flurries out there because of this very strong Arctic front on the backside of the system. That's what's causing the snowfall. But this Arctic front is just pushing this storm off to the east, as well as that very strong ridge in the southeast. That's all going to make its way into the northeast, and then eventually out of the northeast. So everyone's going to be in this plunge of temperatures. But then this quickly skedoodles out of here, and that's going to be the end of it. So probably by tomorrow, like the early morning hours of tomorrow, you'll start seeing that clearing out there. But it's definitely going to feel colder than what's going to feel like today. So we'll go southeast side of this. I don't know why I have little circles here. This might have been because something I wrote here. But we're gonna continue watching this. I circled this area I think earlier because there are gonna be water spouts possible. I know we didn't see like almost any tornado threat, but for tomorrow there is still a tiny 5% tornado threat for this area, and I'm thinking those offshore thunderstorms could possibly produce tornadoes, and in that case it would be water spouts. But here comes your line of storms, and I just want to let you guys know that this forms quickly. It forms that squall line. So maybe you're thinking that this damaging wind threat is going to be so much higher for the southeast, and maybe we're right. But then these discrete cells start kind of spreading out again, and then they form that squall lining once again. And then they continue this process where they go from squall line back and forth to spread out, squall line, spread out, squall line. But then during all of this, they're all rotating. And then these are your offshore storms that could produce water spouts. I don't think they're likely, but they're definitely possible. Just want to throw that out there. Okay? For the last part of the update, we're just going to quickly look at the CAPE here. So the CAPE is basically a model that shows, the most energy and, moisture that's left to fuel these systems, to keep them going. So the higher the CAPE you see, well, here's your index, then the more possible, long track tornadoes there are, because the storms with the most energy can go the longest. I mean, that's common sense, but that's also showing long track tornadoes, because tornadoes need a lot of energy, and if they do get a lot of energy, they could definitely become long track. So we're going to start seeing this is only 6 hours out, and you're starting to see orange and then maybe a tint of red start forming here in portions of western Missouri. So watch out western Missouri. These storms are really going to come in fast, and they're going to be very severe, but there's going to be a quick period, like an hour or two, or not, I wouldn't say an hour or two, but half an hour to an hour of a very elevated tornado risk. So this tornado risk could really expand west, but then you can see this quickly diminishes, and you don't see much of that left over. And yeah, so that's the end of it. But it's really that this section here of Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois that could really see some damaging tornadoes. So that's gonna wrap the video, guys. But thank you so much for watching. And I gotta tell you, today's gonna be very bad. It's gonna be life-threatening. They're gonna be long track tornadoes. It's gonna be damaging in every category of severe weather. It's hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, anything. But it's very overwhelming. But there is a way you can stay safe. So I want you to do is make sure all of your family members in the way of this thing are ready. Make sure that your town is ready, and secure everything in your yard and just around your house if you're in the path of this thing. So I'm hoping that you guys can stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.